Step into the world of Founders Dinner. Stories of entrepreneurial wins, losses, and lessons. Where the essence of entrepreneurship is unraveled in its most authentic form. Stas Balanevsky serves as your guide on this journey of discovery and inspiration. In each episode, Stas brings together entrepreneurs from diverse backgrounds to share their stories. It's not just about their victories, but more about the resilience and adaptability they've shown in the face of adversity. These narratives are more than just stories. They are lessons in courage, determination, and the relentless pursuit of success. So whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, dreaming of launching your first venture, or an established business leader seeking new perspectives, Founders Dinner is your invitation to explore the transformative power of entrepreneurship. And now, without further ado, let's welcome the host of Founders Dinner, Stas Balanevsky.
Welcome to the Founders Dinner podcast. I'm your host, Stas Balanevsky, and I have the pleasure of having Abby Reinhard here as my guest. How are you today, Abby?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for coming. So I want to jump right into it. I mean, you are a born entrepreneur, so I'd love to hear your entrepreneurial story, right? How'd you get started? What are you doing now, and where are you headed?
Well, it's interesting for me to hear you call me a born entrepreneur because I certainly didn't know that for a very long time. And I didn't even first think that until I took a career assessment at an employer, and they came back and said, your type screams entrepreneur, and you're in a bureaucratic part of this university. And so if you want to stay here and have a happy career here, you need to get into a smaller entrepreneurial part of the university.
Wow.
And that was, I was already well into my 20s at that point. So yeah, so I didn't know I was an entrepreneur, but I found it out eventually and acted on it by buying a company, which I did after a friend purchased a small business. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. Maybe I could do that.
What was that process like? I mean, like you'd never bought one before, right?
Correct. I mean, honestly, I connected with a business broker. I didn't know at the time, I wasn't savvy enough at the time to network with accountants or attorneys who might have a client without a succession plan. That's definitely a good way to go. I just was looking at businesses that were on the market, dug into a number of them over the course of a few years, and ended up buying a flooring business.
That's so awesome. You know, if you look at the macro indicators, what are they saying? Like $7 trillion of wealth transfer between now and 2030 as boomers walk away.
Yeah.
It's an unbelievable amount of money that is going to change hands.
It's a big shift. And this company that I purchased, represented that. This was a gentleman who had been in the business for a long time and was looking to slow down, spend more time with his grandchildren, travel more. And here we are 10 years later after the purchase. Yeah.
That's amazing. And how's it going?
It's been amazing. It's been quite a journey. And by the end of this year, we will have 10x the company in 10 years since the acquisition.
Wow. Congratulations. That's bananas.
Thank you. Thanks to an amazing team.
Yep, absolutely. So I guess that from the moment you bought it to 10xing it, it has been absolutely smooth sailing without a wrinkle, without a problem.
Oh, yeah. Not a sleepless night. Yeah, no.
Right.
It's been really, really, really like nothing.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and call BS. That's not the journey, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I really want to dig into. That's the whole purpose of this podcast, is to find people that are lighting the world on fire like you are and dig into the story and be like, hasn't just been rainbows and unicorns.
I'm happy to go there.
So is there a story? Is there a misstep, a misread, something that you were like, I'm pretty sure this is that. And then you peel the onion, you're like, it is not that at all.
I would say, and I just referenced sleepless nights, what has caused me the most stress over the years are challenges with individuals on our team. And I will back up and say, I am so proud of our team. And it's cliche to say, but it's true that your people are everything. Your culture is everything. And I think what I've learned over the years to hire smarter and to love people out the door sooner if there's something that's not working out. Because I do, like, one of our core values is care passionately, which sounds a little hokey, but you can't just say care, like care wholeheartedly, like really show up for your customers, your colleagues, your community. And so I really care about our people. And so I would say when somebody is, not the right person, and I know I'm talking your language, right? They
Right.
don't embody the core values, recognizing that that's a problem, not just that can affect a lot of people. And because I care so much, like that's what has been hardest for me over the years.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. So it's interesting. Two phrases that I really want to dig into. One was hire smarter. Right. I'd like for you to unpack that. Like, I'm a new entrepreneur. I just bought a business, right? One of the thousands of businesses that are going to go on the market over the next umpteen years. I bought a business, inherited a whole bunch of people, need to hire some more. What do I do?
Well, you do need to hire some more. I will start with that. And because I think that was the business that I purchased had stayed at the same level for a very long time because it wasn't built to scale. And the only way you can scale is by investing in more people, right?
Right.
But to find the right people, I mean, for me, it really does come down to the core values and your gut instinct on someone. So we ask behavioral based questions around our core values. Our first core value is always do the right thing. So I ask, tell me about a time when you were in a sticky situation and there was the easy thing to do or the profitable thing to do, and then there was the right thing to do. And how did you navigate that? And so listening to a story that tells that journey for someone tells me a lot about who they are. And we do that with all our core values. Give an example of a time when, and then I ask the question relating to our core value. And because we only want to hire people who already embody those values.
Right.
And then the instinct piece is it's that gut check. When you are with someone, you're meeting someone, there's that part of you that's like, yes, this person's amazing. Or there's the part of you that goes, something doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And they're great on paper and they're answering the questions right, but I'm noticing this thing, or it just doesn't seem right. That I've learned that you have to really pay attention to that.
An old buddy of mine used to say, if it feels weird, it is weird.
Yeah.
Right. And he was like super unapologetic about it. Like, just doesn't feel right. And,
And there's data to support why we should pay attention to our intuition. I know Malcolm Gladwell wrote the book Blink, which
right.
speaks to a lot of that research. It's like there's a part of your brain that actually is doing a lot of work that you're not consciously aware of, and it's sending you signals based on data that you can't process in your prefrontal cortex.
Right. No, absolutely. And it's funny, like Simon Sinek's work, right? When he talks about the golden circles, and then when you articulate that something doesn't feel right, it's because your limbic brain doesn't control language. And the best you can do is come up with it doesn't feel right. The limbic brain is just like danger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have learned to pay attention to my gut. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And not just mine. If I have a member of my leadership team that's like, I don't know, something doesn't seem right with that person, I pay a lot of attention to that.
That's amazing. And then the other thing you said is to love people out the door.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really caring way to reintroduce someone to the job market.
And I want to be sensitive talking about this because I believe in people, I care about our people, and we have very low turnover in our company. And this is not an easy industry, right?
Right.
And our GP Flooring Solutions team is in many ways an extension of family, right? And I'm proud that we care about each other. I think it's really important. And I can't have recognized over the years that I can really care about someone, and I will say I love them out the door. And I do. I send all best wishes. I will say prayers and want the best for them and care about them no matter what. And knowing that part of loving my team is protecting the culture and making sure that we are the right people in the right seats on the bus. So that's sort of like a mom, maybe a mama bear or papa bear kind of thing to embrace that. You can really care about people and say, no, this isn't the right fit. And I wish them well. And yeah, so that phrase has helped me. I love it.
Well, it's also sort of a bit of Kim Scott stuff, right? A little radical candor. When you care deeply about someone and you challenge them directly, that's where it really works. Because otherwise, if you care deeply, but you don't challenge them, you don't help them, you don't get them to grow to become a better and better part of the team, I think she calls that ruinous empathy,
Yeah.
right? Like you're just being super nice, but you're not telling them they're in danger.
Right.
That's awesome. So now that you've learned, sort of in your decade of honing the instincts and the figuring out the core values and really how they show up, tell me a story about a hire or a thing where you're like, you know what? I'm just going to trust my gut and this thing's going to work out. And it has.
A few people come to mind that was the case, but the first story that pops to mind is not a direct response to your question, because it was a hire that I made against my intuition.
Great.
So I'll go with that story because this person came highly recommended, was great on paper, had the right experience. And in the interview, which I was unusually well prepared for, and I'm always pretty prepared.
Mhm.
This one, I was really prepared. This was an important hire. And I had 25 questions prepared that I wanted to get through in this first face-to-face interview. And I told this person, I said, I'm gonna be honest with you, we got 25 questions I want to hit on, and we're gonna do the best we can. Like, let's get going. I only got through 4 of those questions
Oh, wow.
because this individual had a lot to say. And that's actually a red flag, you know? And I tried really hard to navigate it. I'm like, I need to ask my next question. Like, okay. And I still hired that person.
Mhm.
And within 2 weeks, I knew it was a mistake. And it's hard because when you hire someone, it's a big deal. You introduce them to your people. They may change their LinkedIn profile.
Right.
It's a big deal. And I said, I actually called a friend who had been in my EO forum for years. And I said, I think I know what I need to do. I'm going to talk you through it. And can I just soundboard? And she said, Ab, when have we ever known that we needed to let someone go and regretted not doing, like, you always regret keeping the person longer. You never regret making the hard decision.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, okay, I know what I need to do. And so I did it. And thank God it was not the right fit. And I knew it in that interview. I knew it, but I wanted to make the hire. It made sense at the time. And I felt terrible, right? I felt terrible about it because this person had left another job. It was terrible, but I knew it was wrong. I knew it was wrong. And then if they're not a right fit here, it means it's not right for them either. It's not going to work out. But it had the dynamic was so stressful. It was causing me stress. And so I knew that ultimately this is actually going to be better for this individual too, because that person belongs somewhere else. But it was hard.
Wow.
But thankfully, I do have stories of people who, again, I'm like, I have such a feeling that this is the right person. And I've got 2 on paper and 2 who interviewed well, but I have a gut feeling on this one. I'm going to go with this. And they've been with us 8 years, or I have several stories I could tell that are like that. But I am proud that, okay, I made a mistake, but at least I realized it and I acted on it sooner rather than later.
Wow. So I'm hearing 4 phenomenal nuggets just from that story, right? 1, you got to trust your gut. 2, a buddy of mine's a pilot, and he's like, the thing that kills pilots is gotta get their itis. Right?
Mm.
The weather's maybe not quite right, and blah blah blah. But I gotta get there. I gotta make that higher, right? And so you did it, then you didn't get there. The third one is to all of the young people that are listening. If you walk into an interview and someone says, I have 25 questions, do the math. You have an hour and there's 25 questions, skill testing question. How much time do you have to answer each question? Right?
Yeah.
And then the last one that I picked up, which I think is one of the most important ones, is you called someone from your EO forum, right? EO, Vistage, YPO, Tech up in Canada.
WPO.
Right.
Yeah.
My band of misfits that get together for founders dinners, like in person. These are my favorite people. And because it's so lonely at the top as a CEO, you need to be able to phone a friend that isn't going to like hop on LinkedIn and start looking for a job where you're like, I think I made a mistake. And they're like, nah, I've been there. You did. And here's how we should get out of it.
Yeah. And sometimes you need to hear someone you trust tell you what you already know to realize like, okay, you got to do it, because I knew what the right answer was.
Oh yeah.
But talking it through out loud and then hearing her reflect it back to me, I think helped me make that decision faster. And literally it was an hour later, I had that person in my office and I said, this is going to be a challenging conversation. And I did it. And it was definitely the right thing to do. And it doesn't, it's a great person, wish them well. But the other thing I've learned is if they're not, and hopefully I can speak somewhat freely here, if they're not a hell yes, they're a no.
That's right.
That's another phrase that has helped me.
Oh, that's great.
Within the first 90 days,
Mhm.
at hire, and within the first 90 days, if they're not a hell yes, they're a no. And then it's really important for the team. It's so important for the team because for obvious reasons, when you have the wrong person,
Oh, yeah.
it just causes stress.
What do they say? You're only as happy as the least happy person in the room, right?
Yeah.
So if you're introducing some people that are not a fit, they just don't fit.
Yeah. And I've noticed that problem solving is really important. And I encourage people to let's talk about our problems, but not complain. Complaining is toxic. And there's a difference. Please identify problems because we can't solve problems we don't know about. We have to discuss problems to solve them, bring them forward. But there's a difference between problem solving and complaining, and that toxicity that can happen when you have somebody who complains or creates drama, or it's not okay for a healthy culture. And it's my number one job to safeguard that culture.
And we have empirical evidence. What was your most recent award of best award for? Where'd you rank?
Are you talking about the top places? Yeah, it was called the top companies to work for in New York. So there are 100 companies in the state of New York named the top companies to work for in the state, and we were among them. And we ranked actually really well.
Yeah.
And I was very, very proud of that. And it does reflect nearly 10 years of learning and working on and supporting and nurturing our culture.
That's so awesome because I know, having done a bit of analysis, just looking at sort of target market companies just in the Buffalo area, there's 1,700. So across New York State, I mean, you're at the top of a very, very, very big pile. So congratulations. I know you're very humble, but that's got to make you so proud and happy.
It does. And I have to say, getting that designation was, I think, part of our 10-year plan, and we got it. It was like as soon as we put that on our plan, we got it within months. And I was astounded and very proud.
Isn't it cool how sometimes when you put something, when you write it down, you just somehow manifest it,
Yeah.
And I know it sounds weird, and I'm not a believer generally not a believer in that stuff, but I've had way too many clues from way too many of my friends and clients where when they write it down, all of a sudden, bang.
Yeah.
And it's not automatic. I mean, they're working towards it, but the moment they see it, they can go after it and then they go get it.
Yeah. And some of it's very practical. Like you have to apply for it.
Right.
Why don't we apply for it? Even if you think you're not going to get it, who knows? Apply for it. And that's what happened. Right. So I do think there's more to it that we probably don't understand. Again, like we don't understand all the inner workings of the human brain. We know we don't understand that. But some of it's also just very practical. Do the thing. You never know. So
Do the thing and you never know. That's, you know what? But me, Gino always says vision without traction is hallucination, right? Do the thing, just go do it and go win, go lose, whatever. But, who has it? Wayne Gretzky, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So enlightening, so helpful. I know hopefully one of our 3 subscribers will listen to this and be like, yeah, this was really fabulous. Do you have any other tips, tricks, something that you want to throw out there for entrepreneurs to think about or do?
Gosh, that's so open-ended, Stas. I mean, what comes to mind is to just not listen to that doubting voice in your head. And I don't know if it's just human nature, and a lot of us have it across the board. I don't know if women have it more than men because there's fewer of us in certain types of leadership roles. I don't know, but people will describe me as very confident. But what's underneath is doubting all the time. And so when I say do the thing you never know, part of that is just, even though you're doubting yourself, you don't fully believe in yourself to do it anyway. When your logic and your gut are telling you this is the right thing to do, even when you have that doubting voice, the imposter syndrome, as they call it, I suppose, to move forward. And I don't know if I have a theater background. I don't know if that has helped. I can just act my way out of it. But that's been a big thing for me, is to move forward, even though I doubted myself.
That's awesome. That is such sage advice. I talked to a Navy SEAL once and he said, listen, man, bravery is not the absence of fear. He said, it's being scared, but doing it anyway.
Right.
That's bravery.
Yeah.
I never really thought of it that way.
And I think I need to lean into that more. I think also Eleanor Roosevelt said, do something every day that scares you. Was that her?
I don't know, but that's great advice.
And I think need to lean into that more. And I have enough data from my history to show, okay, I know what I'm doing now.
Yeah, you do.
Let's do it. So
yeah,
what came to mind.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Congratulations. I mean, you're running this huge business. You're doing it the right way. I really appreciate you sharing all these stories with us because I know it's going to bring a tremendous value to anyone that listens. And
having me, happy to.
I guess with that, this concludes this week's episode of the Founders Dinner podcast. For those looking to connect with Abby, her link's going to be in the description. If you want to go work for an awesome company, look her up. And this is Stas Balanevsky signing off, and see you all next week.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Founders Dinner. Stories of entrepreneurial wins, losses, and lessons. Once again, we've journeyed through the inspiring and challenging world of entrepreneurship with Stas Balanevsky, uncovering stories that illuminate the resilience and adaptability at the heart of success. Each narrative shared today is a testament to the unyielding spirit of our entrepreneurial guests, providing lessons in courage and determination. We hope these stories have not only entertained, but also inspired you. Whether you're taking the first steps in your entrepreneurial journey or are a seasoned leader in the business world, Founders Dinner is more than just a podcast. It's a community of learning, inspiration, and connection. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast for more insightful episodes and join our vibrant LinkedIn community to continue the conversation, share experiences, and connect with like-minded entrepreneurs. Until next time, keep embracing the entrepreneurial journey. This is Stas Balanevsky, thanking you for being a part of the Founders Dinner family. See you at the next dinner.